making some videos in my kitchen, basically because my mum is in the yoga studio playing bridge online with her friends, so I've been relegated to the kitchen, but actually I quite like being in the kitchen because, you know, it's nice. So it just shows if you're in a really small space, like if you're in a 1-bedroom apartment, you can actually use the kitchen. You only need the space of the yoga mat. Okay, so this practice, hope you enjoy it. It's going to be about 20 minutes long. It's just for the hip joints. You can use it. I use it before I do any yoga practice because it loosens up and warms up the joints, and then I can do poses like Warrior 2 and Prasarkanasana and Ardha Chandrasana with much more freedom in the joints. So I'm sort of preparing the hip joints for those hip opening poses. Okay, so we'll sort of start in this position here. Okay, so 2 legs together, 2 feet bent. Okay, feeling nice and level on the sacrum, and I'll just take the left leg and I'll just bring the leg out to the side and up, out and up, and I'm not rolling to touch the floor. I'm just letting the leg go out and in. Okay, and if you have a stiff hip, then just go. We're not trying to go to the floor. We're not trying to actually get to the end range of movement here. Okay, and I know that's really difficult to understand. I find that really difficult to understand from a yoga teacher point of view. We do end up at end range of movement an awful lot, but this is not really about end range of movement, especially not at the start. Okay, so you can start here and then you can move it out a little bit more, but you have to sort of not be hip ambitious. Okay, so no hip ambition, just supporting the joint to open in its own time, in its own way. And I don't count the repetitions. I am trying to improve the journey from brain to hip, basically here. Yeah. So I don't really want to give you loads of technique. This is not an action, it's just a movement, simple movement. If you've, of course, just had your hip replaced, don't do any of this. If you have bursitis of your hip, I would not do this either because you probably will inflame the joint. If you're not sure, you could try it, but do not go to end range of movement. If you have any arthritis, anything like that in the hip, it is a really good exercise, but you've got to go really slowly if you have an injury, okay? So not trying to fix anything. Good. Okay, and stop. Close your eyes, take a couple of breaths. I can hear the cat meowing, she wants to come in. Oh, 1 second, I'll just let the cat in. Oh, Robin, stop, not you as well. Come on, here you come, he's only got 3 legs, look. Oh, look, he's so cute. Only got 3 legs. No, Robin. Okay, come on, are you doing it with me? Okay, grand, whatever. Oh god, we look like a proper Instagram dog, cat, family person with the yoga. Great. Okay, now walk the feet wider than the mat, okay, like that. And I'm going to take the same leg, okay, and I'm going to roll that leg now in and down, okay, in and down, in and down. I try not to let the right leg move too much, so I sort of keep the right foot, sole of the foot, firmly on the floor. There is a little wiggle of the right knee, but I'm really trying to just move in that left hip joint. Now I'm internally rotating my hip joint. See that? I'm rolling it in and down. And again, I find it really tempting because I'm a white Western woman to want to really push it and go further. That defeats the purpose of this exercise. So I have to be actually kind of just not ambitious, not to have ambition around my joints, which I think is, it's a totally new concept for me, and I'm really embracing it actually. So no end range of movement, not trying to reach anything, not trying to be good at it, being very neutral, very yogic actually, I suppose. Then you might notice you're rolling onto the right side of the pelvic rim when you're doing that. So you're actually massaging there into the right upper glute as you do that. Can you feel that? There's a little movement. You're rolling onto the right side of the rib cage a little bit. Very good. I absolutely love this exercise. So one of my students asked me, she couldn't remember how we did this, so I made a little video for her, and then I was like, actually, you know what, this is really cool. So I'm going to see, can I put it up on YouTube maybe? I don't know. Okay, relax, close the eye, let the knees fall towards each other, close the eyes. Can feel myself just landing more and more into the earth, into the floor. And then the last variation, bring the feet as wide as the mat, and you're going to drop the two legs now over to the right and over to the left. I've seen this, and so I notice a big difference on both sides actually. So again, you're not trying to reach the floor, you're just a weird pair of windshield wipers. You're rolling your thigh bone around inside its ball and socket joint, moving the synovial fluid from side to side, wetting the joint, which Mr. Iyengar, you talk a lot about this, drying and wetting of the joints. You have to keep the joints moist, and especially for women coming in towards the menopausal time, there's a general drying out of sort of body fluids due to various deficiencies and hormonal changes. So just by moving the fluids around inside the joint, picking them up from one end and smoothing them around, I kind of like that image, moving the oils around the body. Lovely. Okay, beautiful. And again, I find letting go of that sort of ambitious, all those ideas we're fed, will I lose weight doing this? Can I push this further? Will I be, how do I get better at this? Oh, I have a bad hip, I have a good hip. All that sort of mental talk, just ignore it completely, it's a waste of time. And just stay focused on your breath and this gentle movement on the floor. And no pushing, no forcing. Just a gentle rolling along your pelvic rim. Beautiful. Okay, and then I'll take the two legs up and I'll see, can I straighten the legs out? And if that hurts you, just keep the legs bent. Let's just see how it feels. Yummy. Find that Shavasana in between the variations. Find that beautiful, sweet breath, the inhalation, the exhalation. So I sort of feel the whole left side of my body, especially from the back ribs down to maybe the mid-thigh, definitely feel more grounded, more earthed, more relaxed. I want to stay here because I can feel myself drifting off again, but I'll continue on to the other side. So feet together, and then right leg out and in. So another really cool thing to do with this is actually to do this before you go running, because then the hip joint is really warmed up, and you'll find, because I look at runners a lot, see a lot of people, I mean, fair play, Jesus, I don't do any running. I do a bit, not much. But you're trying to run from the upper leg, you know, get as much of the leg involved in the glute as possible. And I often see people running from the lower leg, from the knee down. So I find if I do this before I go running, then when I run, I'm running really from this joint, which feels just a lot lighter and bouncier. So that's also very cool. So leg out and in. and in. It's so simple. I don't know why somebody didn't teach me this years ago. I'd never practice yoga now without doing this first, because it supports so many poses. Lovely. Okay, and then I'll widen my legs. Okay. Hi Lulu. Okay. Poor Lulu only has 3 leggies, don't you, Lulu? Okay, and then I'll take the right leg and I'll roll it in and down. And again, I'll notice the difference on the 2 sides. So if you've got, and people use the word stiff. Just make sure if you do have any inflammation in the hip, you know, that this feels aggravaty or pinchy or there's clicks, just, you know, pull back. Like you can do it to here. You can totally do this exercise at this level. At this level. Okay. But I know if you go too far, what happens is the body doesn't like it and it basically sets up what's called a stretch reflex and it will stop you. Alright. So we're just loosening up obviously the outer hip area here. Got your, oh, this guy here, tensor fascia lata. Couple of tight outer leg muscles. Good. I just thought of something else we can do, but I don't want to make this video too long. So just keep going with this one. Let's do one right, and then tomorrow we'll do another one. Okay, lovely. Okay, and then the last variation, I move the 2 legs, whatever, to the left and to the right. So when I did this the first time, I could feel a slight pinch in my lower back when I did it when I went to the right, and now I don't feel that now. So even though I did introduce this as a hip exercise, it's really also very much related to the lower back, the pelvic rim, all those areas. I think all these exercises on the floor as well are extremely safe because of the way gravity is coming in on the joints. So this would be totally suitable to anybody really, except probably the hip operation. And again, any kind of bursitis, you just do have to be careful you don't heat the area up and aggravate inflammation. So always listening to your body, and I suppose if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me, although I really am not a doctor. But I have had loads of hip problems. But, you know, my problem mightn't be your problem, so. Well, that feels really good now, okay? Okay, here comes the magic. Slide the legs down. Just feel that. Okay, so slowly bend the legs, bring the hands. You can stay there a bit longer if you want, or you can do what I'm going to do. This was not planned, this just sort of happened. The puppy did ask me would I take out her meringues for the pavlova that she has made in here. So let's just